Hello.
Hi. Okay, let's get the text on screen. Hold on a second. Okay, it's been a while. What are we up to?
I think we were in the commentary. I don't remember where exactly.
We started the commentary, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I just don't remember where we got up to.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we're up to Taisus Moed Kama.
I'm sorry? Okay, fine.
Okay. Anytime Beishan Beisil argue, we don't know what the interpretation is. You gotta assume Beishan is Machmir, Beisil Lakula, and Beisil is lenient. There are 80 a few which are enumerated where Beishamai is the Kula, but otherwise, the general principle is if you don't understand Machlekes Beishamai Beisil, you assume that Beishamai the Machmir and Beisil the Makel. Okay. Normally we say the end of a Mishnah can be a tag on to the beginning of a Mishnah, right? In other words, the end of the Mishnah would have been partial, but once you said the beginning of the Mishnah, we also said the end. Reish Mishum Sefer Mitana. Is there such a thing that with the Reish is just a setup for the Sefer? And the Gemara says, "Mshani in yes, I'm a Rav at the time of Reish Mishum Sefer." So yes, and that's why they learned that the times when the Reisha is included because of the Sefer. So if you have a Mishnah, you have a question. Why are both parts of the Mishnah there, right? You only need to have one part of that Mishnah. It may well be, but sometimes it's either a setup or it's a tag on.
Okay.
Okay. Taisus Reish Moed question. The ain't there will be boy Montana. This is cute. Okay, the Gemara doesn't normally ask Montana. The other stam Gemara, that who stam low asikra meir kishar stam lucky boy Montana. So normally we don't ask who a Mishnah is because we know it's Rabbi Meir. The other times when we ask who the Mishnah is, it's because the stam of the Gemara knew that this is not Rabbi Meir. Okay, and therefore they ask. I want to point out something here on a tangent. So we want to go on a small bit of a rant here. One of the new drachim in learning, which is prevalent in certain more sophisticated settings, is they're called rivadim. Rivadim means layers. It was introduced by Dr. Weiss, Dr. David Weiss Halivni in America, and Rabbi Pinchas Heyman in Eretz Yisrael, and it's taken roots in many different left-wing Orthodox and certainly conservative institutions. And the assumption is that, to the extent that they learn Gemara, the assumption is that the Gemara is written in layers, and that there is a Stama de Gemara, which was written by the Stamaim. And the Stamaim were anonymous group of people, somewhere between the Amoraim and Rabbanan Savuroi, who were not necessarily too bright, but they were the ones who wrote the Stama de Gemara. In other words, whenever Gemara appears without attribution, that's the Stamaim. And the Stama de Gemara, being that it's written by people who are not too bright, meaning that they were not on level Amoraim, not even sure they're on level Rabbanan Savuroi, and never looked into this in detail. But since let's say you have a statement attributed to Abaye, and then the Stoma of the Gemara goes on and discusses Abaye, right? What Abaye meant. So according to this Derech HaLimud, you are allowed to give your own shot in Abaye, and you don't have to be bound by the Stoma of the Gemara, because the Stoma of the Gemara represents their opinion of what Abaye said, and you're really entitled to go back and understand in your own way what Abaye said, which of course is something which we don't do, and of course we don't believe there was a period called the Stamoim. If anything, there were Rabbanan Savuroi, who we consider to be almost as authoritative as Amoraim themselves. But the point is that when we use the term Stoma de Gemara, of course, Stoma de Gemara means that the Gemara discusses something and it's not attributed to any one Amora or another, but it's not to be construed as something which was just put in by some anonymous and questionable source. We always assume it's Rabbi or Ravashi, or one of the other editors of the Gemara, Rabbanan Savuroi, who came shortly, immediately after the end of the Gemara period, and were in fact almost seamlessly transferred between Amoraim and Rabbanan Savuroi. So when he says Stam of the Gemara, yes, there is a Stam of the Gemara. But we assume the Stam of the Gemara is authoritative like the Gemara itself. Okay, end of rant. Shehiksha Bagamara, Masnisim Mani, Loka Ploni, Loka Ploni. It's not going like either one. Ain't no hack shows Ulayu Dashlishis. What about maybe? So who says it has to be like Reuben or Shimon? Maybe it's like maybe. Ditema, Dika Dashlishis, Havel, Dinama Masnisim. If there was a third opinion, it should have told us in the Mishnah. Umasha Lolo Dia, and these were the Leka Dashlishis. Okay, so evidently, since there is a known machlokas on with which we can reckon the Mishnah. So therefore, if the Gemara doesn't tell us there's a third opinion, we don't assume that there's a third opinion. That's a kind of, it's very, I think to me that strikes the same chord, although it's not the same thing precisely, as Ein Dash Lishi Machras. In other words, if you have a Machlokes two Tanoim, and a third guy comes and says, I know, I'm going to, let's say, I'm going to say XYZ, and it's a third shita that doesn't help in resolving the machlokes. A third opinion can only be machria if the third opinion holds like Reuven in one respect and like Shimon in the other respect. So then Levi's opinion becomes a second opinion on each side, and then we go after the rows, right? In one case, you say like Reuven because Reuven and Levi agree on that. In the other case, you say Shimon like Shimon because Shimon and Levi agree on that, right? But you can't throw in a new third sheet and say, I'm Machria, that this is the third, or a new third opinion. I'm sure we'll come across that later on. But in any event, right here, saying that if the Gemara gives two opinions and says, who is it? There is no third opinion to introduce. When there's a Chidush Mishnah as a result of a Yisur Kra, something it says in the Hagos Barnari, Ein Lon B'chulei, L'Tevas Kronim Chak. So he takes out the word Kra. Okay? So when you have something which we learn in Mishnah, which has an additional, which adds something. You have to go by the slightest possible Chidush. Find Rashi, Reish Perek Beis Dikin, Tesla, and Beis Dium Maschel. So let's bring that up on screen. A second. Okay. Which you were masked, is it?
Tetzvav Amud Bes, Dibur Maskil Ella.
Oh, it's a long Rashi. You see it?
I see it.
Lava Krak Mishti Sarah the Noka Rabusa Asmina the Mai the Losh Mina Beechon, or for the next of Bechomer for a next Echomer for the next Bechomer for the next Mechida going to Hetzer Shenish Edus to the Rabbi to Rabashi, to the Chis of the Kingdom of Sismishim Rabusa Asa, Lopish Marabusa Asa Shmina, a Krach answer or Shad Fosam Ruba, going to Chis or Rabusa Jutracy along the Rava, the Ravashi. Okay, so it's saying that let's see the Gemara here. Gemara says it's a very famous Gemara actually. Okay, so the Gemara says, Mishnah says, I may be getting the answer. V'amar fanei nechtav, avolo b'fanei nechtav. Fanei nechtav, avolo b'fanei nechtav. He says half of it. Fanei nechtav kulo, fanei nechtav chesed. Fanei nechtav chesed, fanei nechtav kulo. Puzzle, because you have to say b'fanei nechtav, b'fanei nechtav. That's what the shliach has to say. No deviations, right? Echad mar fanei nechtav. Ve'echad mar fanei nechtav, puzzle. Shnai mar fanei nechtav, ve'echad mar fanei nechtav, puzzle. He says kosher. Why is it kosher? Because the fact that you have two on fanei nechtav shouldn't make it worse because it's edus, right?
Right.
It's not just one shliach; it's edus. So therefore, it should be superior. Why should it be inferior? The fact that two people say fanei nechtav. Echad amar fanei nechtav v'shtayim omrim v'faneinu nechtav, and that even Tanakam agrees that it's kosher.
Okay.
So Gemara hatu lamali. Maybe we can do the same. We learned it already, right? It's the first Mishnah in Gittin. Let's say fanei nechtav. Ima he have a mina tzarich. You have to say below mar kosher, but it didn't say his kosher. Commercial, you have to say it. Fanei nechtav chetzi or fanei nechtav kula puzzle. Hey chetzi, which half? Either mechetzi rishon v'amar b'lez v'ilo kosher b'lishita achas lishma shumein tzarich. Right. So it sounds like if you say at the beginning is sufficient. Elamar Ravashi chetzi achor. Okay, so that's question where the fanei nechtav the chetzi achor, which is not as not important as chetzi rishon. Fanei nechtav kula fanei nechtav chetzi puzzle. Okay. So everything was in front of him, half it was signed. Even if two people testify to the other signature, it's possible. My timer, why? It's either have to be completely with kiyum, which is fanei nechtav. I'm sorry, the kiyum, which is two witnesses, or the fanei nechtav, which is takonas chacham. You can't have one witness validated based on takonas chachamim and the other one based on kiyum. Rava said it doesn't make any sense. Mika meeting is essentially do a marchad kosher. If one person says kosher, actually you could trade puzzle. It's counterintuitive, right? The thing is that should make it better, right?
Yeah.
Elamar Rava filu hu ve'echad minim achasimas yad sheni puzzle. No, it's puzzle not when there's two witnesses, separate witnesses on this other signature, but when he and another guy are testifying on the second signature. So Reuven comes and says, "Fanei nechtav kula v'nechtav chetzio." I saw Zvulun sign, right? And Reuven says, "I saw Zvulun sign," but I didn't say Yisachar's sign. But I know this is Yisachar's handwriting. And Shimon comes and says, "I also know Yisachar's handwriting." Right? No good. Why? My time, I said Chuvin became shtaros ba'alma. Right? Because it's going to get mixed up with regular kiyum shtaros. Because nothing, not going to do the mamona puma the chatzada. And we have a principle kiyum shtaros. You can't have 3/4 of the testimony be based on one witness.
Mm-hmm.
Because here, Reuven is testifying for the signature of Yisachar, and half of the signature is Zvulun. So he's doing 75% of the work. You're not allowed to do that.
Okay.
So, Matthew Ravashi, I said, so Rashi is asking, says, Mika meeting, Tilmasikli Iru Kule Dibura kosher. If he were to say the whole thing, it would be kosher. right? Ashti chad b'adei puzzle, right? So I'm not sure what it means, but you must you cool dibure. Um, I don't know what it means by that. But all right, let's go on. Let's see. El Omar Ravashi. I feel Omer Nihu ain't Shani Puzzle. Oh, you know, what's he going on? Umacham and Ian Chasim said Shani Puzzle. Sheabach min Ashuk. Imo, Hulo, Hoya, Vimoya, Miguel, El Ashuk, Battlefield, your daddy, by a caution. Oh, okay. So that's that. So Ravashi says, I don't understand why this should be possible. It shouldn't be possible because if he would say, I know that this is, I know the second guy's that's Bulus Chasima, right? That's that would be sufficient. You said Yodeani. Not sure. I'm not sure why, but I guess that'll be part of Funny Nechtam. Funny Nechtam. I know exactly why they'd be cautious. But now there's somebody else with him. It's possible. So in any event, Ravashi doesn't like that. But Ravashi says that the case is Afilu Omer Ani who age Shani. He says, I'm the second witness is possible. My time Oklub Kimaget Oklub is the it should be either Kulo because Kimaget or Oklub Teleschonim. It can't be a conglomeration of both. Snan, the funny next to Kulo, funny next to Chetio Possible. Ida Chetio Echidami. What's the other half of Elim and Lake because come aside the Lake Cloud? If we talk about there's nobody testifying at all. Hashka Echemar funny next to funny next the high kamasi the kulu ksiva high kamasi kulu chasima apostle, where each one is doing the complete ksiva, wasn't complete ksiva, wasn't complete chasima it's apostle. Chetzio miboyelo, if one is doing only half of it, it's obviously apostle. El okin rava okin ravashi, so it must be going either like rava or ravashi, but afukim be Rav Chisda, and it's excluding from excluding Rav Chisda. So he says the fact that it says the Mishnah is Seira, right? No. Sorry, going back. It says the average says this of Kula before night. The next time Chetzios puzzle, right? It can't be talking about that there's no witness at all in the second one.
Okay.
Because if we already know Nechtam is puzzle, even though one's going to complete Ksiva and one's going to complete Chasima, so if Chetzio, if one is saying, I say Funny Nechtam of Kulo, but Funny Nechtam Chetzio, it's puzzle that it's puzzle, right? So it's got to be going like Rava or Ravashi, that he's saying something about the second witness, right? Because he said we already know that if he's saying not. If you say Funny Nechtav Kulo, Funny Nechtav, no, I'm sorry, there's got to be another person involved. That's what I meant. Sorry. There's got to be another person involved because if the only person involved was this Shaliach, we already know that the Shaliach which says before I if the Shaliach just says once it's Funny Nechtav, once it's Funny Nechtav, even though this guy is testifying the whole ksima, this guy is testifying the whole chasima, it's possible. So certainly we only testifying half of it's possible, right? So what would make it kosher? The fact that the fact what's going to make it kosher here? The fact that there's someone else involved. I still don't get it.
Okay.
Let's see Rashi. Hopefully this Rashi helps us. Elav, a Mishnah say Naka Rabusa Hashmina. My the law Hashmina be'echor amar funei nechtav of echor amar funei nechtav. Okay, it's going to be telling us something we don't know. Be'echi dami, that's the case. Konchetzio sheni yeshevus, that there's an additional testimony on the second signature. Because Rav Ravashi. Lafukim Rav Chisda, it's not going like Rav Chisda, who said that what did Rav Chisda say again? Rav Chisda said I said Chisda said he is testifying the second guy. That was Rava. That was not. That was Rava. Krista said. The Krista said. Oh, two people from outside.
Right.
Two people from outside. So Krista is saying two people from outside. So now he's saying again. Right? Besides him, there's also witnesses.
Right.
Right? The king must see Mishum Rabusa Asa. Mishum can tell us a Kiddush. Below Piresh, my Rabusa Asa Shmina. It's not going to what Kiddush is coming to say. Can't say it's the bigger Kiddush. That even the case of Rav Chisda.
Right. You can't go for the maximum revusa, right? Because it's the bigger chiddush. We got two guys from outside testifying.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying, according to what he's saying, but wait a second. Rav Chisda is saying that Mishnah says this is possible, right? Rav Chisda is saying that two witnesses apostles. This is what we're talking about. Right? Right? So the Mishnah says that's possible. So Rav Chisda says, what's the case that's possible? We have two witnesses on the second guy, right?
Right.
So on that, Rava asked the question.
So that's a big chiddush because normally two witnesses is edus, and
right.
that should be kiyum
so
again.
Rava asked, right? That should definitely be it should definitely be kosher. So Rava says no. The Mishnah is telling us a smaller chiddush. That's a smaller chiddush. The Mishnah is telling us that a case where he's also testifying on the second guy.
It's not good.
So that it's possible. So Rava said no. It doesn't make sense because if he was the only one saying before, if the other guy wasn't there, right? And he was saying right, by himself.
Right.
Pasha, right? So the fact that another guy comes and helps out makes it worse, right? So it must be there is no other guy, right? So it must be Amar Avashi feel Ani who ate Shani is possible. In other words, there's no other guy. So now I understand without even reading Rashi, it's clear. But what Rashi is saying is that introducing a second guy in any way, shape, or form is a much bigger chiddush to pass. So who gives you the right to passel that, right? Nobody gives you the right to introduce a second person. It's not intrinsic in the Mishnah itself. So you're going to have to look for a way in which the first guy is completely saying everything. So as I'm funny next time, it must be saying, I saw the first guy sign, and I'm the second guy. And even still, it's possible. Okay. So that's what we're saying over here. That when it says, when he's saying over here, kasher yavo b'mishnah chiddush mikoach yisor was a new case. Ain't was a chiddush in merubah el tafastem or tafasta. My Rashi respect best again. Okay, so that's a clear case. The more variables introduced, the less likely your case is to be valid. That's a tafasta merubah lo tafasta means. Minimize the variables introduced in the Mishnah.
Okay.
That was good. Okay, so let's finish the column here. Sometimes the Tana could have said more. He didn't say they should harich. Okay, that makes sense. We can look it up. I don't think it's necessary. In other words, the fact that a Mishnah is a terse. Sometimes the Mishnah could have said even bigger chiddush. It doesn't say it. Because he didn't want to be married, he didn't want to spend more time.
Okay.
Probably maybe on the Lashon Mikra Mipnei Hatzachus. Sometimes the Mishnah brings down a snippet from a pasuk because it sounds nice. Tzach, means like Dodi Tzach V'Adom. it's pure. It's like linguistically elegant. It's not language of Mishnah. Ki haza per base the payoff. Harim asher ba'mader ye'adoron. So I like to see that. There you go. Here. If you have a canal where you can't harvest both sides at once, but you don't remember seconds, you have to get paid for each one. All the hills which can be, I guess, hoed with the hoe. Obviously, in a book, you who knows saying pay a hoe. So it's saying that as long as you can hoe on each side, I guess manually, even though an animal could not pass by with its the plow or whatever it is, so you can put a good payoff for the entire field at once. So I'm not sure. I guess you say it's not a drasha. We're not learning out from this pasuk. It's using a pasuk because it's a nice linguistic turn of phrase.
Okay.
All right, should we stop here?
We can go a little bit more.
Okay. Derech Mishto Bryce is the Tana Kamamili Adori Ba'agat. The Tana Hani. Tana Hani. It's you can go on and it's just put down. Reaching Derech Agav the other. Avagav Lo Tzorich, even though it's not necessary. Vani Mile Chada Otzfei Michado after Tarte. It attacks on one thing because of, or two things because there are two things already there. The Shaychadari, which are connected. Avotarte Luchada Lo Tani V'Agav. But if you have one case, you don't say two cases. Derech Agav. What's the one here? Kiddushin base. Really? Kiddushin base? Is that what's a Kiddushin base? That's the first mission of Kiddushin.
Is that a gimel? What are you looking at?
Well, at the Gra. The Gra says Kiddushin base. You see that?
Yes, I see it.
Kiddushin base. This is the Gra. No, it's the Griv. Kiddushin base on the base. So it's there. My time at time is Shalosh. Mishum Drachim, Lisnei Dvarim. Here it is. Okay, so it says Drachim. It says Drachim instead of Dvarim because by Bia, Lashon of Derech is used. Derech Gever Ba'amo, right? Okay, Derech Ishmael Nefes. So I'll Bia, Kesef Star Michael Meimar. Okay, so Bia is called the Derech. But the other two things, Kesef and Star, which are not called Drachim, they're called Dvarim. So why is it called to say Drachim? It should say Dvarim, right? Bia Kesef Star Michael Meimar. Mishum Bia. The Tani Tatu Arachada. So the Gemara says you
Uh-huh.
can't say drachim if the only reason saying drachim is because of bia, because they're using drachim for kesef and shtar, even though they're not relevant to kesef. It's not relevant to kesef and shtar.
Okay.
So it says Gemara, you're right. The reason why we use those is because right? They're also ultimately the primary part of marriage is bia, and therefore we use drachim even for kesef and shtar.
Mhm.
Or else, Gemara says, Gemara, if you boy say Muhammad Rabbi Shimoni, Tanya Shimon Omer, name Ma Omer Tarkikach Ish Isha Blokosa Ki Yitzlokach Ish Alish, Neisha Darko Shalish Chaz Alisha, then Darko Shalish Chaz Alish. So derech works by. So the second answer is derech works by all means of kiddushin, because the derech of a person, a man, to look for a woman. So
Okay.
so this is the principle. A mishnah could say one thing because of two things. In other words, if two of the manners of kinyan were drachim, then the third one cross we call it derech. But if only one of the manners of kiddushin was the derech,
Right.
we can't call the other two drachim on that account.
Okay.
Okay, I would never have deduced that principle from there. And once you see it, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. So one more here. Parmish Shora Rebbe Amishla Davashin and Tzarech. Rak Lahotzi Mileva Shoitim. Right, Rabbi Yanasi took the fools into account.
Mm-hmm.
So Paracholit. Kan Shora Rebbe Mishra Shen Tzricha. Tezisham Lamika Mishra Tzricha. Shatana Shona Mashifurish Bepasuk. Elok Shu Mikavachomer. So something which we learn that from Mikavachomer, but the Mishnah says it anyway. That's to prevent the shaitim from coming to the wrong conclusion, even though a normal person would come to the right conclusion.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of this. I think we'll look up more of the stuff inside.
I'm sorry?
I think as we go on, we'll look more of the stuff up inside.
Okay.
I think it's good. Good to look up the examples. Okay.
Very
Have a good week.
You too. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.